everybody, and welcome to Enjoy English. I am your host, Shane.
大家好，我是 Bernice.
All right, Bernice, today, do you know what we're talking about?
I think that would be a very exciting sport.
It's a very exciting sport. It's called parkour.
Wow.
Turning the city into a playground. That is the title. We're going to turn a city into a playground.
Yeah, 大家都喜欢 playground.
Because if you know anything about parkour, you jump from one building to another building and then from one thing to another thing, all out in the middle of the city. So the whole city becomes like your playground.
Okay, all right.
This is all about the art of movement and skills.
一定的啊，要这样子跳过来翻过去的，这个当然要 movement 跟 skills 才可以啊，一定要身手矫健呐。所以我们今天要讲的这个叫跑酷。简称 PK， 但是不是我要跟他对打，不是这个
We're not going to PK.
no, 不是这个，
对，
讲的是一种算是极限运动的一种 ，OK， 跑酷。那它可以把这个城市呢变成 playground， 我们刚刚讲 playground 就是游乐场啊，真是太不错了。但是你要身手矫健，这是一种身手矫健的艺术呢。
Cool. All right, let's get into today's article.
Parkour, turning the city into a playground. In the late 1980s, a French teenager named David Bell set out to push his physical limits. As a child, he often enjoyed running and jumping on the roof of his school. Now, he is regarded as the creator of parkour, which he developed based on his own training and the teachings of his father, a former member of the French military. David Bell found a group of friends with similar physical passions to train together in outdoor environments. Their practices included running, jumping, climbing, swinging, and crawling across all sorts of obstacles. Bell believes that through exercise and using one's instincts, people can strengthen both body and mind and better respond to emergencies. The goal of parkour is simple: to find the shortest path to get from point A to point B in a way that tests your physical and mental abilities. During practice, learners try to solve physical challenges and explore different ways to overcome obstacles. Although parkour is usually practiced in urban areas, there are also gyms and training programs available for athletes and learners of all ages.
Okay, so I don't know about you, but, well, I'm a boy, you're a girl. I mean, some girls are active, don't get me wrong, but when I was a boy, I used to jump all over buildings. I would jump from one building to
like
another building, just like a monkey.
Monkey around.
So when I was a kid, I did parkour, but basically it wasn't called parkour yet, but I would do the same kind of thing. So I was doing parkour before there was parkour.
哦，原来Shane老师在以前小男孩的时候，他就已经做类似这样的一些跑啊、跳跃的这些运动，只是那个时候还没有一个这个 term 出来，就是跑酷这样的一个 term 出来。
All right, let's find out when they came up with this term and who invented it. Okay, all right. So, in the late 1980s, a French teenager named David Bell set out to push his physical limits. Okay, so it sounds like this was a French young man who wanted to test his physical limits. Now, your limit is just how far you can go.
Yes.
How high you can go, how low you can go, how just the limit is just the end of your abilities.
没错，
Yes.
对，所以这个时间点是在1980年代
1980s.
没错，那个是一个法国的一个少年了哈。那这个法国的这个 teenager 这个青少年，他的名字呢就叫做大卫贝尔这样的一个人。他在当时呢 set out to do something， something， 当我们讲 set out to do something， 就是做，表示 start doing something， 你开始去做一件事情了。那他开始做什么事呢？他想要对于他自己的 physical， 他的身体上面的一个 limits， 刚才老师讲的就是你可以到多远或多高的一个距离，也就是你身体的极限可以忍耐到多少。这样的一个极限，他想要 push， 他想要去好好的推出去，意思就是说好好要挑战一下，看我可以推出去多远的一个距离或范围。所以呢，这个时候1980年就是这样的一个少年开始做的这样的一件事情。
Yeah, it was in the late 1980s. He was a teenager, which makes him about the same age as me.
哦，跟轩老师差不多的年龄。
Yeah, wow. But I didn't even know anything about parkour then. I was just doing parkour. Okay, let's find out if we have more in common, me and David Bell.
Okay.
As a child, he often enjoyed running and jumping on the roof of his school. Me too.
Shane. Okay, teenager Shane.
Yeah. So I would also run around and jump around as a child, not as a teenager. I did this more as a child. Once I became a teenager and I could drive a car, I stopped jumping on roofs and I just drove around and drove here, drove there. Okay.Yeah,
所以你看，美国人有好多东西可以做，对不对？我们在台湾怎么可能 teenager drive around? My gosh, we can't.
So fun.
我们不能做这些事情啊，他们 teenager 就可以开车了，是吧？
Can you believe he was jumping and running on the roof of his school?
Oh my gosh,
that's pretty dangerous.
对，不要这样做哦，各位同学，千万不可以啊！对，
不要学他，
对，千万不可以做这件事情哈。所以呢，这个小朋友呢，他在他小时候呢，就在学校里面已经是一个顽皮小子了。他做什么事呢？经常对，就像炫老师这样，他很喜欢做这些事情，就是在学校的屋顶上面呢，屋顶上面也就算了，他在屋顶上还要跑来跑去的，还要跳来跳去的，真是的，太过分了，这样子不可以的。
No. Now he is regarded as the creator of parkour. Which he developed based on his own training and the teachings of his father, a former member of the French military. Okay, so he developed just this play of jumping around, which many kids have been doing for thousands and thousands of years, jumping around and playing around, but he made it into a sport. And basically made it into more, I guess he kind of organized it a little bit better. And who better to help you organize than somebody who was a member of the military? Because the military, you know, they're very organized and they have a lot of rules to follow. So his father was part of the French military and helped him to develop this.
Okay.
Very interesting.
好的，所以呢，这个小男孩呢，就在当时呢，他在学校里面，在这个屋顶上面跑跑跳跳这样的一件事情，哎，一般的小朋友，我们大家都是这么做啊，小朋友的时候，对不对？我没有啦，我很乖的。
你很乖。
对，好，那你们这些不乖的小朋友、顽皮的小朋友，大家都是这样子来的，不是吗？所以到了现在呢，他呢已经怎么样 ？be regarded as 就是被人家视为、被人家看待成什么呢？这个 regard 我们当然可以用 view 的 view， 所以他已经被人家视为呢，就是这个跑酷的 creator。他就是这个创始人了，而且呢，就是他怎么样创出这样的一个跑酷的这个运动呢 ？Which， 所以这边 which 就是形容这样子的一个跑酷的这个运动，它呢主要 developed， 它是怎么样这个发展出来的？就是因为based on 以什么为基础呢？以他自己本身的训练，因为他就喜欢在这个学校的屋顶上面跳跳跑跑，而且呢还有一个事情，就是因为他的父亲呢自己本身是怎么样教导他这样子一个这样的一个运动。为什么他父亲会教导他？就像刚刚 Shane 老师讲，因为他爸爸呢是这个所谓的法国的这个军人，好 ，former 是前任的这一个法国军队里面的这个前任的军人，所以呢，可能爸爸会教导他，哎，你要怎么样把这样的一个活动、这样的一个游戏变得组织化，变得比较有训练
structure and stuff like that.
没错
Yeah. Okay, let's take a short break and we'll be right back.
好的。
Okay, so let's continue the article.
Okay.
David Bell found a group of friends with similar physical passions to train together in outdoor environments. So outdoor just meaning outside, not indoors where you're inside of a building or inside of a house, but outdoors where you're out in nature or out in the city or something like that. And of course, they were out there jumping around like monkeys.
对啦，因为呢，这个活动本身呢，它是需要很多的 energy 跟很多的你的身体上面的一些 limits 这些极限你要去挑战，所以呢，它就是在户外去做这样的一个训练。那这个户外的环境呢，那当然你要找到一些跟你志同道合的一些朋友啊，所以呢，他就找到了一群朋友。这群朋友呢，跟他一样有着这样子的所谓的热情，这种 passions， 这样的 physical passions， 就是在这个体育方面或者是这个运动方面有这样热情的这些朋友们，大家呢就一起在这个户外的环境里面来做训练了。
Okay, now their practices included running, jumping, climbing, swinging, and crawling across all sorts of obstacles. Okay, so their practices, because in English, would really say it's like a practice is like kind of like exercising or something like that. So their practices included all of these things, and they were doing all these things over all kinds of obstacles. Now, obstacles are usually things that get in your way.
Yes.
But because you can do all of this jumping and crawling and swinging, you use these things that normally gets in the way to find creative solutions to go over them or around them, above them, below them, and all kinds of cool ways.
没错，所以呢，这些 obstacles 是非常重要，就是我们讲的实体的这种障碍物。好，不管它是什么样的一个阻碍的你的东西，就是因为它挡住你的路了，所以呢，这一些人就要想办法，我可以从上面跳过去呢，还是绕过去，还是从下面怎么样呢？他们要去想办法去做。所以呢，他们的这些 practices 就是他们的这些训练，其实就是讲刚才前面的这个训练。他们这样的训练呢，包含了第一个，他们要训练怎么样跑啊，怎么跳啊，怎么爬呀，怎么攀那个摆荡啊，像那个泰山 Tarzan 一样，这样子哈，然后还要crawling 就要在地上爬，所以有点就在军队里面。如果你当兵的话，你不是也是要训练这些跑啊跳这些东西啊？好，对这些所有的动作，你通通都为了要 across all sorts of 各式各样的障碍物，就是为了要通过这些障碍物。
Yeah, I have to say though that when you do this when you're young, sure, it's really cool and stuff. But then you notice when you get older, like me, now my knees hurt. And I think it's because of all this jumping, because they go from very high, really high buildings. They'll jump from a very high building, maybe to a wall, and it could be like 3 meters or 5 meters. And that puts a lot of pressure on your knees and things like that. So I think it's kind of because of parkour that now I've grown up and I'm an adult and now I have bad knees. So you need to be careful. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
对，所以呢，Shane 老师给大家一个小小的这个就是警告 warning。
It's a warning.
对，就是你如果要做这个活动，当然很好啦，哈，就是你在年轻的时候嘛，因为你身体非常的这个好啊，非常的健康，所以你可以做这些跑跑跳跳的运动，但是要注意膝盖，因为像Shane老师他就说他现在开始年纪大的时候，膝盖就有点不太好了。
just letting you know.
Okay.
There are consequences to having so much fun. Okay. Bell believes that through exercise and using one's instincts, people can strengthen both body and mind and better respond to emergencies.
没错啦，运动的人确实就是你的反应力什么都会比一般的人来得好。
That's true, yeah. So to respond to emergencies of course, means that if something is happening, you can get to the problem.
Jump over.
Yeah, you can jump over or climb over.
Yeah.
And maybe there's an emergency, you can go and help somebody. maybe you'll be better at doing that if you are so physically fit like this.
这是真的哈，所以呢，就是因为这个贝尔呢，他相信呢，透过这些所谓的运动，还有使用一个人的一些直觉哈 ，instinct 就是你的直觉，那么人们呢就可以加强呢，不管是你的身心两个都可以同时加强，而且对于当你遇到紧急状况的时候呢，你比较会有一个很好的 respond to， 就是你对他的回应或者是应对呢，哈，就怎么样 deal with
It's like
这些
somebody's
emergencies，
like maybe somebody wants to rob you. And you can just run away and jump over the building, and they'll try to shoot you, pew, 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 but you're too quick.
OK，
I have a very active imagination.
对，因为他小时候就玩这些东西的，所以处理这些紧急状况，他非常能够应对的。
No problem. All right, let's take a short break, and we'll come back in a moment.
OK。
Okay, so it sounds like parkour, we're just doing a lot of jumping, swinging, crawling, running, climbing. But is there really any goal or purpose to doing any of this stuff, or is it just random jumping around? Well, let's find out. The goal of parkour is simple: to find the shortest path to get from point A to point B in a way that tests your physical and mental abilities. Okay, so that is the goal. So maybe you're standing at the school playground and you see there is the cafeteria over there. Now, of course, I could just walk to the cafeteria, but there's a wall, there's a roof, there's a playground over there. Maybe I can jump from there and then jump to the playground, and maybe I'll get there even faster than if I walked there.
好的。
Something like that.
这就是你的目标。所以呢，他就说这个跑酷其实呢，目标就很简单，我就是想从 A 点到 B 点，但是呢，我就是不乖乖的用走的，他非要这样子因为他主要的目的是要找到一个最简短、最快速的方式
maybe
到达。
this walk that you would take, 要绕很久。
对。
But hey, I can get over there by jumping over the building. That will be much faster. Let's save some time. Time is money.
Okay, and life is not important. 生命就不重要了。
非常重要，
好的，
可是好玩也是很重要。
对啦，所以他们就是一种热情嘛，刚刚我们讲就是一种 passion， 所以你就要找到那个最短的那个方法。OK, shortest path 就是你的走路的那个路径，你找到你那个最短的路径呢，就可以从 A 点到达你的 B 点。In a way， 用一种方式，什么样的方式？这个方式是不是说我们讲的一般的最短的方式？是你要能够测试考验你的身心能力这样的一种方式。所以他要找到的就是这个方法。
Okay, continuing. During practice, learners try to solve physical challenges and explore different ways to overcome obstacles. So of course, yes, there's going to be lots of physical challenges when you're trying to jump over walls and jump from one wall to another wall, or jump from one obstacle or to get over that obstacle. That's going to, definitely going to be solving these physical challenges because it's not that easy to do.
没错，所以呢，你从这个句子可以知道为什么刚才说这个玩跑酷的这些人，他的身心都可以非常的强化，因为呢，你要通过这些障碍物，你要用脑筋去想，你要思考，我要怎么样绕过去。我是要用跳的呢、爬的呢，还是怎么样的一个方法？而且这些方法是要对于你的身心的训练是有所帮助的。所以确实啦，你做这些跑酷的这些运动 ，during 他的 practice 这样的一些训练之中，这些学习者就可以试图说，我现在要去这个解决要这个身体上面的一些挑战，我要怎么样跳上去？好，我要先用哪一个大腿的肌肉还是什么力量，好把我自己推上去，所以他就可以学习试着去怎么样解决他身上的一些身体上的挑战，并且他要去 explore， 他要去探索呢各式各样不同的方式，因为这些方法呢才能够帮助他克服这些障碍。
Okay. All right, let's continue. Although parkour is usually practiced in urban areas, there are also gyms and training programs available for athletes and learners of all ages. Now, an urban area just means an area where you are in the city. So a city where there's lots of buildings and there's lots of traffic and there's lots of pedestrians. But the point is that you are not in the country area, right? So usually it's practiced in urban areas, but if you're not in an urban area, you can go to a gym. They have these gyms that are set up for doing parkour. Now you notice I didn't say playing parkour because in English, when we are doing sports, we do them.
Yeah.
We play them. There's certain sports that you can play. You can play baseball, you can play football, but you don't play parkour. So you need to learn which sports you play and which sports you don't play. So we don't play parkour, we do parkour.
没错，就像刚刚老师讲的，因为呢，它算是一种运动。啊，那当然你说，那老师打篮球、打棒球，这不是也是运动？它是球类型的，所以球类型的运动你用 play 是可以的，你可以用手啊、脚啊这样子。可是 parkour 你没有办法拿在手上这样子玩嘛，所以它是用 do， 所以老师用的动词是用 do 的。好，所以他最后一个话就讲说呢，虽然呢这些跑酷通常来说是在 urban 我们知道是形容词，就是城市的这些地区里面是做进行的。为什么呢？因为刚刚老师讲了，城市里面你会看到比较有高的这些大楼啦，然后有这个 traffic 这些车流量啦、行人啦，这些 obstacles 比较多一点。你如果在 countryside 它比较空旷，它的 obstacle 你眼睛一下就看到了，那它比较空旷，所以你很快就可以绕过去。所以呢，这边的挑战比较大。那如果你没有办法在这些城市的地区进行的话呢，也别担心。他说有一些健身房，好，或者是他们也有提供一些所谓的训练的项目啊 ，available 就是可以获得的。那么呢，对于所有的你这些所谓的运动员，你如果真的要把跑酷当成一种你要运动的一个项目的话，还有呢，如果你只是想学习，不管你是哪一个年龄层，也可以选择这种室内的训练方式。
Awesome. Okay, well, that's all that we have for part 1, but we still have a second day of this, don't we, right? So day 1 is over, but there's day 2 to learn more about parkour. So please join us and we'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Bye.